All right, you ready to start fishing?
I guess so.
All right, welcome to the Codcast, the Cat and Corn Codcast. I'm Cat. Wait, that's not right. I'm Corn. And this is the Cat and Corn Codcast. Let's try that intro again. Hello! Welcome to the Cat and Corn Codcast, Arcadia's very own fishing podcast. That's why it's a podcast. Yeah, it's also Arcadia's only podcast and only codcast. We're very revolutionary. Anyway, the rules are very simple. We talk about whatever we want. We debate whatever we want, and then at the end, whoever has fished the most cod was right about everything that we disagreed upon. Do you know about the trolley problem?
Yes.
Okay. So theoretically, I'm going to give you a trolley problem, and you are way more moral than I am, so I'd like to see how you answer it.
Am I?
Well, yeah. I mean, you're less stabby than I am. But stabbing, I think, is correlated inversely with morality. Like, the more stabby you are, the less moral you are.
Oh,
So,
sometimes it's the correct thing to do to stab.
yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. You see, here's a trolley problem for you. Um, let's say you've got a trolley, and it's heading towards a track with everyone you have ever cared about, and it's gonna hit them. Or you could pull a lever, and it will kill one person you really don't like. What do you do?
It's a fun question.
Yeah,
I mean, I would probably pull a lever. I don't know if that's the right thing, though.
I mean, it's saving everyone you like and killing a person you don't like.
Yeah. How come I don't? Why do I not like this person? Is it because they don't like? They have a weird ice cream taste?
Uh, no, it's not about something as important as ice cream. It's about, um, ooh, it's about the fact that they're the entire reason the trolley exists, in a way. Like,
Yeah.
like this person is the reason that all of the people you care about are stuck about to be hit by a trolley.
Do they know that they're the reason?
I, I don't think so. But like
Ah.
that doesn't change the fact that they are causing a trolley to be headed towards everyone you care about, and you can stop that trolley by just making it hit them instead.
See, I probably would pull this lever. I just don't know if that's the right call.
Well, I mean, why isn't it the right call?
Well, because when you interfere like that, then you're the one. So if you don't put the lever, it's not really your fault because you didn't do any actions that caused anyone to die. But when you do touch that lever, well, suddenly you've made an action.
All right. Let me change the trolley problem a little bit. Let's say, let me make it worse. um,
Oh, okay.
there's a trolley headed towards everyone you ever care about. Um, and to stop that trolley, there's like some madman controlling the trolley. And to stop that trolley, all you have to do is physically kill one person you don't like. Like you gotta stab them.
Oh,
Told you I was gonna make it worse.
yeah, it's way worse.
So what's your call?
Are you trying to stop the madman?
Well, let's say the madman is more of a concept that cannot actually be stopped. This is just the way it is, you know? Like,
The world usually isn't that binary. That's the problem with the trolley problem. Since it's binary, when usually there's more than one solution.
okay, so what's your outside solution? Let's say that the madman is like the fundamental part of the universe.
Yeah.
Um, and the madman has put together this trolley. And let's say there's also a time loop, just for funsies, that um, even if it were possible to save everyone and not kill that person, it would just keep happening until that person dies. Then what's your choice?
I think you gotta let it keep happening.
You have to let it keep happening?
Yeah.
Why? You have to keep letting your friends, like, get hit by a trolley over and over, or at least deal with the trauma of almost getting hit by a trolley over and over and over?
Yes. Because human life is important.
Well, what about your friends' lives? Aren't they theoretically more important than the life of the person that you absolutely despise? Because, like, that's a bit of it, that you absolutely despise them.
Well, maybe.
And hey, maybe you would
But
have
you're saying
murdered
there's
them
a
without the
hypothetical.
entire trolley thing. Like, even without the trolley being in it, maybe you would have murdered them.
Oh, well, then I'd just be a bad person then.
When I murder you, does that make me a bad person?
Well, no, because I come back.
Okay, so long as the person comes back, it's chill.
Yeah, because that's not murder. That's, at worst, it's assault.
It's temporary murder. It's an
I guess
inconvenience.
so.
It's an inconvenience, is what it is.
Right.
So that's a rule. It's not murder if they come back. But if the only way to stop the trolley, because it is murder in a way. Like, if the trolley hits the people you care about, they do get murdered. Like, permanently murdered. And
Yeah.
the only way to stop the trolley from happening over and over is to permanently murder another person.
Right.
You still think you just let the trolley permanently murder all your friends?
Yes.
Okay, but like, from a pure people standpoint, like a number of people standpoint, let's say you have like 15 friends. Wouldn't it be more worth
That's
it?
kind of high, but okay.
Okay, fine, let's be realistic. Let's say you have like 3 friends.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right.
You were so mean to me. Let's say you have 3 friends.
Wait, I thought I was the person who had 3 friends.
Oh. Let's say there's just more than one friend.
Okay.
Wouldn't it then be like objectively better from a less death standpoint to kill the one person because you would be saving more people?
Well, the problem is you have to kill someone. Whereas another one, people die, but you're not to blame.
Okay. What if you don't have to kill them directly? What if it's the same trolley, it's gonna hit all your friends,
Yeah.
and the only way to stop it is if the other person is dead. But what if you arrange it so you don't necessarily kill them, they just end up dead so the trolley doesn't hit your friends? Is that morally better?
But you're arranging it so they end up dead.
Yeah, but like you didn't kill them.
So you're still doing an action that results in their death.
Well, then we're back to the lever, and you said apparently like actually stabbing someone is worse than the lever. So where's the line there?
Yeah. I guess it's not much worse, is it?
Yeah, so theoretically. Dang it, now I'm arguing. I'm not supposed to argue with you. You have the superior moral compass.
I told you I don't know if that's true.
Now you might be thinking, Corn, wait, why are you interrupting? What about the Codcast? I would just like to say that the Codcast is only possible because of our sponsors. So I would like to take now to thank our sponsor for this episode, The End of the World. This episode was brought to you by The End of the World. The End of the World. It's sooner than you think. Anyway, back to the Codcast. Okay, I have a new philosophical dilemma for you.
Sure.
Let's say, everyone you care about is going to be super happy.
Okay.
But to ensure that, you need to make sure someone else suffers infinitely.
Infinite.
Yeah. Everyone you care about will be happy infinitely. But someone you really don't like has to suffer infinitely.
Hmm.
You don't have to cause that suffering. You just have to do nothing. Because I think that was like what the crux of what we were getting at was that you didn't like the
Right.
physical murder aspect of it, or the sort of the
Wait,
choosing.
so in this scenario, if you do nothing, uh, the people you like are happy, but then if you do something, you stop one person from suffering at the expense of all the people you care about.
Yep.
So you reversed it.
Yep.
Okay, that's fun.
Yeah.
See, in that situation, I probably would choose to do nothing. And
You were choosing to do nothing at the other ones too, because you didn't want to be the cause of someone's death.
yes.
So you're just universally gonna choose nothing.
In these scenarios.
Okay. Okay. I guess I have a completely different question.
Okay.
But in the same vein, and I think you'll know why. Which is, have you heard of the ship of Theseus?
Yes.
So like something can be exactly the same, but if different parts are like you start with one ship and you keep replacing parts, and is it the same ship anymore? So theoretically, let's imagine that um you've got like a gajillion different copies of the same ship. And as the ship sails, different pieces are being replaced on each ship. But at the end of it, the ship isn't what it started at. Like it's not this. It doesn't have any of the original pieces, but it also doesn't have any of the same pieces, or it doesn't have all of the same pieces as the other ships who have been having their pieces replaced. Are all of those ships still the ship of Theseus?
Well, that depends. Who's around to talk about the ship of Theseus?
What?
Well, things are only called things because people call them the things that they get called. Right. So the ship of Theseus is just whatever people call the ship of Theseus. Doesn't really matter what the parts are.
So you're saying that it's still the ship of Theseus if people say it's the ship of Theseus, but if
Correct.
they
Because
don't say
people get to choose that.
okay. What if theoretically, um, all of these ships of Theseus, like there could only be one ship of Theseus at a time.
Okay.
Which one is the real ship of Theseus? If they've all had their parts replaced.
Isn't that a fun question?
Yeah. See why it's relevant?
So I'm assuming all these ships have crews, and all the crews are referring to their ship as the ship of Theseus, right?
Yeah.
So they would all have equal claim to being the ship of Theseus.
Well, what if one of the ships didn't have a crew, or it didn't start off with a crew and it just like grabbed a crew along the way?
Okay.
So it's had a crew for a shorter period of time. Does that make it less the ship of
Mm-hmm.
Theseus?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, there's got to be one ship of Theseus. So how do we decide which one the ship of Theseus is?
Well, that's not our call to make. We're not on the crew.
Okay, let's say we are on the crew.
Okay, well then the boat we're standing on is the ship of Theseus.
Okay, because there's only supposed to be one ship of Theseus. But let's say two crews
Yeah.
run into each other. What happens then?
I don't know. They have to figure it out. Maybe they play rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, what if one of the ships of Theseus and its crew decides that they just want to be the ship of Theseus, and so, um, they kill the other ship of Theseus? Is that morally wrong?
Yes, it would be.
Even if, okay, let's combine the questions. Let's say
Okay.
we've got our ship of Theseus. It meets the other ship of Theseus, and the two ships of Theseus meeting causes the trolley problem. So one of the ships of Theseus, there can't be two of them. So one of the ships of Theseus has to no longer exist for the trolley problem to stop.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do then?
Guess it'd have to be up to the ships.
Who else is it up to?
I don't know who else it could be up to. They'd have to reach some kind of agreement.
I would assume the people on the trolley would want the trolley problem to stop, you know? The people who are about to be hit by the trolley would want the trolley problem to stop.
Yeah, probably.
So do they choose which ship is the real ship of Theseus?
I guess I would have a say in it too, wouldn't I? I think the two ships just need to get together and come to some kind of agreement. One gets to be the ship of Theseus, one gets to be the ship of Theseus 2. Maybe one even changes its name. Ship of theoretical ambiguity. The ship of Schrodinger's cat.
But what if it's... So, that is, I guess, a way of destroying the ship of Theseus. Because if it's no longer the ship of Theseus, we don't have the problem. But...
There we go. The crews have to get together and decide who gets to be the ship of Theseus, and who has to change their name.
That's an option I hadn't considered.
Uh-huh. See, I told you the world's more gray than binary.
Okay, but imagine you're that ship of Theseus. I suppose you would rather not be the ship of Theseus than die, but...
That's true. I would rather change my name than die. Although some people, they're very attached to their name.
But does no longer being called the ship of Theseus change the fact that it was at one point the ship of Theseus?
No, it wouldn't change that.
So then, how do we get around the problem of having two ships of Theseus and there can only be one, even if it was at a past point?
Hang on. Let me look something up on the Google. Okay, I found it. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with Machias Seal Island?
Can you use that in a sentence?
Well, let's just call it Seal Island to make it easy.
It's an island with lots of seals?
Actually, I don't know if it has that many seals. The important thing is this island is contested territory between Canada and the United States.
Wow.
It was it became a big issue during the Cold War when Americans decided to send a military group over there to do some kind of military drills. And then the Canadians were like, hey, that's our island and you didn't ask us to use it.
Yeah.
What give? And the Americans were like, no, that's our island.
Oh, that's
And then the Canadians built a lighthouse on it. And they said, see, it has our lighthouse, therefore it is our island. And to this day, the Americans pretend the lighthouse does not exist.
Well,
even though there are many pictures with this lighthouse in it.
Okay,
pretty funny.
I'm confused because the lighthouse sort of exists. The lighthouse didn't exist before the conversation happened, you know?
That is correct, yes.
It would be one thing if the US showed up and there was a lighthouse there and they started doing military drills and Canada was like, did you not see the lighthouse? But the US was doing military drills and then Canada built a lighthouse and pointed at it and said, see lighthouse. So I feel like that's a different story.
Well, the point is, it's either a Canadian island or an American island. Right.
Unless they have shared custody.
We do not. It's still an ongoing issue.
Oh, dang it.
Right. So this island has two pathways it can go forwards. I guess three. There is the shared custody, kind of like what we did with Denmark.
You have shared custody with Denmark?
There is a little island between Greenland and Nunavut that was contested territory, and we solved that by sharing alcohol.
Oh, good job.
And so now Canada and Denmark share a land border. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this island is Seal Island. It is either an American island or a Canadian island. And there are the two options it can go down. Or three, we get to share custody. But the history doesn't change whether or not, if it suddenly becomes an American island, there's still the history, right? Of where, well, it was once contested between Canada and America.
Yeah.
And same thing, if it becomes a Canadian island, it's like, well, it was once contested between Canada and America. But that doesn't necessarily matter because it will be either an American or a Canadian island.
But can you change it just by saying it?
Yes. That's how names work.
Okay.
That's how maps work.
Yeah, that is how maps work. But what if it was something that couldn't be changed by a name?
Like what?
Okay. Imagine you have two cups of coffee.
Mhm.
But one of them has like sugar in it and the other doesn't.
Right.
Just because you stop calling one coffee doesn't mean what it contains isn't coffee. You know?
Or does it? Who decided to call it coffee in the first place?
Someone with a coffee allergy would still die if they drank that cup, you know? Like,
No, that's true.
so I feel like you can't just say that the name changes it because there's got to be some inherent property.
Well, who first chose to call it coffee?
Whatever the substance is, it's still the same substance, whatever you call it.
Okay,
you know?
okay. The question's still there. Where did the name come from? Who decided to call it there in the first place?
Well, coffee is just English.
Right.
So I imagine it was an English person.
All right, so some English person went and picked up a coffee and decided that this thing is now called coffee. And everyone in the world just kind of agreed with it.
Well, no, they didn't agree
Or
with
agreed
it. They
with
had
it
different
enough.
languages.
Sure. But now we all call it coffee.
I don't know. I don't know everyone in the world. Maybe different people call it different things.
Right, exactly.
But
So
we
it's
all
only
have the
called
same,
coffee because enough people agree that it should be called coffee.
but we all have the same central idea of what it is because otherwise we couldn't communicate. It's like if I say coffee and for you the word for coffee is dog, but we both know what it means as an idea, like,
Right.
then the name doesn't matter. It's just what it is. Because we're still communicating the idea. If I said bat to you, and for both of us that meant car, it doesn't matter that it means bat differently right now because we communicated the idea effectively. It's still one thing no matter what we call it.
So what when it doesn't work that way?
What do you mean?
Did you know that? So this isn't something I would expect you to know or expect most people to know. But did you know that like most of the fish that show up in grocery stores, most of it is mislabeled?
No, I'm a vegetarian.
Yeah, this is why I would expect you. I wouldn't expect most people who eat fish to know this either. And the reason it's mislabeled is because the people who fish the fish have different words for the people who buy the fish in North America here. And they can't agree on what species. So like there will be like fish that we in North America we see as two species. However, the people who fish it up, they look at it and they see it as one species. So they call it a one thing. They send it over here, and because they told us that it's all one thing, we end up mislabeling it because we don't realize that we see it as two things.
So that's ineffective communication, but that doesn't get around the fact that it is still a thing. Oh, I see the point you're making.
Whatever people call it. Yes.
Oh.
So who's right? Who gets to decide what fish is?
The people eating it.
Okay, sure. Yes, the people fishing it up, they don't get a say.
Well, if they fish it up and eat it, no, but that's irritating. It's good that we're having this talk.
Oh. Also, I might have exaggerated by saying most fish. I don't know the exact numbers. But the point is there's a lot of it that gets mislabeled.
I know the exact number. More than 2.
More than 2, yeah.
So I guess, thus far what we've decided, it's bad to murder someone if they don't come back. It's more bad to physically murder someone than to just cause their death.
Yes.
It's much better to have the person die and not have any effect on it whatsoever.
I mean, yeah, sure.
Okay, what if someone else kills them, but like I made it known that I wanted them dead?
Ooh, like you hired them? Like you hired somebody to kill them, or?
Hired is such like a complicated word. I guess that would be me causing it. Dang it.
Yeah.
Okay, what if... You know about Schrodinger's cat, right?
Yes.
What if the person I'm killing is that cat, and I just put them in a box with a poison, and I don't physically hurt them in any way, but I give them the option? Is it then my fault?
Give them the option.
Like...
I'm a little bit confused by this scenario.
Okay. Let's say I place a trap somewhere in my house.
Mm-hmm.
And they die to it, but like, I didn't push them into it.
Like a mouse trap.
Yeah.
I think most people, most pest control people would admit that they kill the pests when they place traps. I know this because of a weasel.
A weasel?
A weasel snuck into the place I worked, and we had to get somebody in to trap it.
Oh, did they kill the weasel?
Actually, no, they got in a live trap.
Oh.
There were traps that would have killed it, though. But it just so happened to fall for a live trap instead of a dead trap.
So, adding another point to the list, live trap is better than dead trap. But what if the pest just doesn't go for the live trap?
Like I said, I think if the weasel landed in the trap, that would have killed it. I don't think the pest control guy would have had any issues saying that he killed the weasel.
Okay, but if the pest control guy put out a live trap and a dead trap, and the weasel went into the dead trap, is that pest guy more moral than one who just puts out the dead traps?
I mean, maybe.
Okay, how about this?
I value human life way more than weasels, so this is a little hard for me to wrap my head around. But
how about this? What if you are in a boat with someone?
Mm-hmm.
And There's only enough supplies for one person.
Oh,
Is it morally wrong to kill the other person so you survive?
that's a fun question.
Yeah, I'm asking great
I'm going to
questions.
say yes.
Okay. So what's the outcome that you're looking at here?
Oh, there's a they're on the ocean, right?
You cut out what?
So we're on the ocean.
Yeah.
There's only enough supplies for one person to survive for an amount of time.
Yeah.
Well, once again, the real world's not that binary. You can ration your supplies to make them last long. You can
Even
get
with
more
rationing.
supplies. You could catch fish, for example,
Okay, let's try
and
to make it
you could
more
always.
binary.
But the world isn't that binary. That's the point, and you can always end up getting rescued. Do you know about a there's kind of an embarrassing thing for us Canadians, but there was this icebreaker ship that got stranded in Antarctica because it couldn't break the
Titanic?
ice. No. It was an
Oh.
icebreaker ship. It's a boat that's specifically designed to break ice. It's used in the Arctic and also the North Pole. But they were in the
Whales!
Arctic, and their icebreaker ship could not break the ice, and it got stuck.
Oh, that's awkward.
And they were stranded out there for a very long time. And then it was actually a Chinese icebreaker boat that found them and was able to break them out.
That's nice.
Yeah. But if those Canadians in that icebreaker boat, if they decided that they didn't have enough supplies, and they decided to just kill off a couple of Canadians to make the supplies last longer, that would have been bad.
Have you heard of the Dahmer Party?
I have, yes.
Okay, so I'm not advocating for that here, but they didn't get rescued. And they ran out of supplies, and they ate people. Was that morally bad? The eating people
So what I
aside,
understand,
let's assume that they didn't eat people, the people just had to die and everything was fine because cannibalism is more complicated. Like,
so what I understand about the Dahmer Party, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they actually didn't kill the people before, or they weren't the ones they were eating people who already died.
oh, I don't know that much about the Dahmer Party. I guess this
If
is
I
a bad
remember
example for me
correctly,
to
so
be
they
bringing
didn't they didn't murder people in order to eat them. They ate people who were already dead.
So we're back to the it's fine if people are dead so long as you didn't do it to them.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt the Codcast, but this is just another message from our sponsor, without whom today's episode would just not be possible. Our sponsor, the end of the world. The end of the world! All things end. Why shouldn't the world? Anyway, back to the Codcast. Okay, I have a different sort of question, but once again, it's something that will hopefully all connect. Because this is sort of
Sure.
a variation on the ship of Theseus. But, if there was like a perfect mode of transportation that like could teleport you places, but the way it did it was that it literally just it killed you. And then it built a copy of you that had all of your memories. Is that still you?
Oh, I absolutely hate this question. You're not the first person to ask me that. Ah. So just like the CPCs, it depends on what people call this new person that comes out. If they refer to this new person as you, then I guess it is you.
So your argument is defined by if people think it's you, it is you.
Pretty much it.
Okay. What if there's you, and then there's a con
Yeah.
artist who's pretending to be you?
Oh, like me, but blue, for example.
Yeah, like that. And let's say, for no reason at all, you and the con artist cannot be in the same place at once. For no reason whatsoever. And is it morally wrong to then get rid of the con artist. Because it's not you. I mean, you lived in the house first, theoretically. So, if anyone has a right to continue living in the house, it would be you, not the person who broke into your house and is trying to be you.
Ah. Well, in this scenario, we're talking specifically about a con artist. Then yes, it would be justified to get rid of the con artist. Send him away.
Even if the con artist was murdered? Like, if that was the way to get rid of it? If the con artist was just going to keep coming back and back.
Are we assuming this con artist is human?
Yes. And you can't contact
then
the
yes,
police
it's wrong
because
to
the police don't... What?
That's wrong to murder them.
But they're going to keep pretending to be you.
Yeah. You'll have to work on another solution.
Okay. What if the con artist is trying to do it to you? Like, say the con artist thinks you're a con artist and is trying to get rid of you. Is it then justified to murder them before they murder you?
If they... Right, so if they are attempting to murder you, and it's very clear they're coming at you with a knife, then yes, that is what do we call self-defense.
Okay, but what if it's not a knife? What if we're back to the trolley problem? What if, say, the con artist is intentionally causing the trolley problem? Or not even intentionally, the con artist is causing the trolley problem alongside trying to steal your entire life. And so that means that the con artist is hurting other people too. Like, are you allowed to self-defense for other people? I guess it's not self-defense, but if the con artist could possibly... The trolley problem could kill a bunch of people. If the con artist is going to kill a bunch of people, are you allowed to kill the con artist?
Are they intentionally trying to kill people?
Does it matter? The trolley problem is still happening and they're causing it.
Oh, it does matter.
But what if they can't stop causing the trolley problem?
Usually the world isn't that binary.
That's not an answer.
So I probably would, but I don't know if that's right.
I mean, I had kind of already decided. I'll give the name thing a shot, though.
Oh, okay.
I'll try the live trap. I mean, it would be a little bit uncomfortable to go straight for the gun, but I don't know. Okay, hold on. It's morally wrong for the crew of the ship of the Theseus to try to take over the other ship of Theseus.
Right.
What about the ship itself? If the ship suddenly became sentient, is it wrong for that ship of Theseus to declare itself the only ship of Theseus and get rid of all of the others?
Are the other ships sentient?
Let's say they're not.
So it's just... I guess that'd be no different than you destroying a statue of yourself.
Okay, let's say all of the ships are sentient. I would assume that would then be bad?
Yeah.
Okay, what if the ship was at one point sentient, but isn't anymore?
Isn't anymore. So it's like a corpse.
And it would probably be bad. So you can't kill the ship because the ship already needs to be dead for it to be okay for you to kill the ship.
I guess. So that'd be... I mean, destroying something that's dead, that's just called a cremation. Or it could be called other things as well, but...
Okay. Well, what
that's
if
the one
it
that came to my
was
head.
if it was never dead or alive, it's a statue? If
All
it was
right.
at one point alive, it's now dead.
Sure.
So the three states of being are dead, alive, and statue.
I guess so.
Okay, so what if you could solve the problem not by killing all of the other ships of Theseus, but by just turning them into statues? Is that morally wrong?
That's the same thing as killing them.
Okay, we just said they were different states of being.
No, it's like you're saying they are sentient, and then you're turning them into something that's not sentient.
Hey, you stole my fish.
Oh, did I? Okay.
Yeah, nah. Oh, no, dude, don't worry about it. Um. Okay. Let's say all of the conversations we'd had about all of the things, the ships of Theseus, the trolley problems, the one person having to suffer, all of that. Let's say that the two ships of Theseus have those conversations with each other. Um, if one of the ships of Theseus, because they're theoretically the same, right? Because that's the idea of it. It's the ship of Theseus. They just have different parts. So, do you think the ships of Theseus would come to the same conclusion? And if they did, and both of their conclusions were to try and take over the other ship of Theseus, would it be justified to try and take over the other ship of Theseus first?
Pretty sure that's just called war.
Okay, but like, you have the two ships of Theseus, and if they talk about it, they'll probably come to the same conclusion, right?
So let's talk about Seal Island again. Let's say that Canada and the USA, we found a large amount of oil on Seal Island, and so we both decided that we really
oil? Can it be something more fun than oil? Like,
okay. We found a supercomputer buried underground that could answer all of life's questions in the matter of seconds.
All right, cool beans.
That we
I can live
both
with
want.
that. It's just
Okay.
everything seems to be about oil nowadays, and I don't like that.
Oh, that's fair enough. Okay, and so we both decide, Canada and the USA, they decide that they want the island at all costs. Is it justified for two armies to meet on the island and shoot each other?
Well, it would kind of suck if Canada and the
It would
US
suck.
didn't even just try and talk about it first. But I guess my point is, if they did talk about it first and both independently decided to bring their armies there, then is it morally wrong for the armies to try to shoot each other? Because let's say they talked about it, and independently they both realized, ah, dang it, that guy's gonna bring an army. So independently they both went, guess I have to bring my army now. Like,
See, that's just called war. And war is usually not justified.
are both sides unjustified?
In this scenario of Seal Island, I'm going to say yes.
Seal Island with a supercomputer.
Yeah.
Okay, how about this? Let's say the two ships of Theseus find the island.
Okay.
And whichever ship of Theseus owns the island, it is decided that ship of Theseus is the ship of Theseus. So, is it then unjustified for the two ships of Theseus to both aggressively try and claim the island?
With violence, yes.
What about aggressively without violence? Like, aggressively with guilt tripping?
I guess not. Or
Is
be
it morally
less.
wrong for one ship of Theseus to manipulate the other ship of Theseus?
But we're assuming. But the other ship of Theseus isn't trying to do the same thing.
Well, if we're assuming they're the same ship of Theseus, then they would theoretically both be doing the same thing. But let's say one ship of Theseus has slightly more information than the other ship of Theseus.
Yeah.
Like,
know,
that ship of Theseus knows a little bit more about the island than the other ship of Theseus. Would it be morally wrong for the ship of Theseus that knows about the island to manipulate the ship of Theseus that doesn't know about the island?
ooh, I would call that dishonest.
Okay, is dishonest morally wrong?
Usually.
Okay. But what if the ship of Theseus is manipulating the other ship of Theseus because they're trying to avoid the outcome where the ships of Theseus go to war?
That is... Being dishonest would be less... what's the word? Less outrageous than going to war.
So it's a lesser evil.
You're still not... Yeah, it's a lesser evil. There we go. It's still not right, though.
Okay. Let's soften the word manipulate, then. Let's say, okay, one ship of Theseus has slightly more information than the other ship of Theseus. And so the first ship of Theseus with the more information uses that information to their advantage and convinces the second ship of Theseus that the first ship of Theseus is the real ship of Theseus. Is that then morally wrong?
So we're talking... So the two ships, they get together and they discuss, and they both come to the conclusion that one of them is the correct ship of Theseus.
Sort of. The two ships find the island, and the ship of Theseus, it's said that the island is, the real ship of Theseus is the one who, like, owns the island and stuff. That's how that's decided. And so the ship of Theseus with slightly more information goes to the other one and says, hey, I actually know stuff about this island, therefore I own the island and I am the ship of Theseus. And the other ship of Theseus goes, fair point, I guess. Like, is that morally wrong?
Well, no, that'd be a way of working through the issue, I guess.
Okay.
Both groups can come to a conclusion. No one gets hurt. Generally, it's a good thing.
But what if the ship of Theseus that isn't the ship of Theseus has to be destroyed once it's decided that it's no longer the ship of Theseus?
Nah. Why would you need to destroy it?
Because there can only be one ship of Theseus.
But what makes the ship of Theseus the ship of Theseus?
Well, we had this discussion about coffee.
Yeah.
And that, because we had this discussion, you successfully argued for a little bit that it's what something calls that makes it what it is. But someone with a coffee allergy, even if coffee isn't called coffee, is still going to be allergic to coffee.
Right.
Sorry to interrupt the Codcast once again, but this is another message from our sponsor. As a matter of fact, the final message from our sponsor. Our sponsor, the end of the world. The end of the world. Timeless. Classic. Inevitable. The end of the world. Anyway, back to the Codcast. Maybe polling the people about to be hit by the trolley and saying, okay, which one of these is the real ship of Theseus? Okay, would it be morally wrong for the people about to be hit by the trolley to decide which of the ships of Theseus is the real ship of Theseus if they know that once they decide, one of the ships of Theseus is going to be destroyed?
Ooh. I don't have to destroy the ship, though.
Okay, let's say it is like a bygone conclusion that is just how it is. I know you don't like that that's binary, but let's say that's just how it is. That one of the ships, like, the ships have unanimously decided that whoever the people about to be hit on the trolley vote on is the real ship of Theseus and the other one has to be destroyed. Is it then morally wrong for the people about to be hit by the trolley to make a decision?
I think those people are what's the word? They're going to have a bias in the situation because they're about to get hit by a trolley. So I think that's why in the court system we have a jury of the peers. So you would need to get all the other ships of Theseus together, and then they'd all have to vote. Or you need people outside of the equation to vote on it.
Why would they be biased? Because if the trolley problem, for example, is caused equally by both ships of Theseus,
Right.
then how is it biased? Which is not to say that it is caused equally by both ships of Theseus, because one ship of Theseus is clearly not responsible here. I see your point. Okay, but then is it morally wrong to have the ship of Theseus who is responsible be destroyed? Like, doesn't...
And we know for certain that the ship is responsible?
We know for certain the ship is responsible.
Yeah. Are they aware they're responsible?
They can be informed that they're responsible.
Ooh. Hmm.
Because that ship of Theseus doesn't know about any other ships of Theseus. That ship of Theseus is just living life like, hi, I'm the ship of Theseus.
I have a question in my head, but it's very dark, so I'm trying to figure out a way to phrase it so it's not so dark. If you have a carton of eggs and you're walking down the stairs and you trip and all the eggs break, are you to blame?
To blame for what? Tripping or the eggs breaking?
All the eggs breaking.
You are to blame for the eggs breaking, but you are not to blame for tripping. You are to blame for what you caused, but you might not have caused it entirely, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So, in my opinion, you could be put to trial for breaking the eggs. Let's say they were very valuable eggs. You could be
Okay.
put to trial for that, and you could be found guilty, but it could also be argued that, hey, you didn't intentionally trip. But even if you didn't intentionally trip, you are still responsible for that carton of eggs breaking.
So where do we go from here then?
I mean, I know where I want to go, but I wanted to go there
I
before I
think,
got here, so
right.
trying really hard not to. It's not an easy thing to think about. I'd like to think I'm the better ship of Theseus. But that's not fair. Okay, how about this? Last ship of Theseus, I promise.
Mhm.
Okay, you have two ships of Theseus, um, and one of the ships of Theseus has had a lot worse of a time than the other ship of Theseus. Like, objectively. One
Right.
of them has gone through, like, a gajillion storms and is in very, like, it has much fewer of its original pieces remaining.
Mhm.
The other ship of Theseus, on the other hand, is pretty chill and has, like, most of its pieces remaining. Does that make the ship that's chill more of a ship of Theseus than the other ship of Theseus? And if it does, how does that ship of Theseus apologize for being more of a ship of Theseus?
Did you know that every cell in the human body replaces itself every 10 years?
I thought it was 7.
Oh, I thought it was 10. Maybe
Well,
it's
7
7.
is for taste buds, I think. Maybe taste buds are different.
Uh, sorry, do you think you're the same person you were 10 years ago?
Oh, definitely not.
Ah, that's fair.
So what you mean by that is that the ship of Theseus... Okay, well, If it's 10 years for one ship, what if it's 3 years for the other? And all of the cells haven't completely. Like, is that the same person?
I would
I
think
mean
so.
ship. I mean ship. Don't you laugh at me, man. A sneeze and
Sorry.
you'd be the ship of Theseus.
Guess that's true. What if one ship of Theseus could be moved far away from the other ship of Theseus?
Okay.
Like, if we had a ship of Theseus on Earth and a ship of Theseus on Mars, would it really matter that they're called the same thing?
Well, my question is, what if two ships of Theseus, they're both on that seal island,
Sure.
and it's a solution that the ship of Theseus has to leave. How do you decide which ship of Theseus leaves?
I think the ships would have to get together and talk about it.
And what if the ships can't decide?
Well,
Because it's not an option to leave both ships of Theseus, because if you leave both ships of Theseus, the trolley problem keeps happening. So then I guess it would be back to the people in the trolley problem deciding. Except you would argue that all of the other ships of Theseus should decide instead. Kat,
what's up?
can I ask you a question that you don't have to answer?
Sure.
Which ship of Theseus do you want to stay?
No.
You don't have to answer. I should stop fishing now. Okay. How many cod do you have? It's the Codcast. We gotta count up the cod.
Is it cheating if I wait for this one?
No, I'll let you have it.
All right.
You see, I'm trying to bias the judge here.
Okay, I have a stack in 34.
I have a stack in 54. And by a measly margin of 20 cod, I was the winner of this episode of the Codcast, meaning I was morally right all the time. Everything we disagreed upon, I was morally right. That's how the Codcast works. And I definitely won with this episode. All wins here. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the Codcast. Don't forget to keep, our sponsor in mind, the end of the world, because the end of the world, as they like to say, it's sooner than you think. Anyway, thank you for listening to the Codcast. Maybe you even watched it. But anyway, this has been the Codcast. Good night.